A few years ago, my brother Dave and I were presenting at a conference together in Morocco on the subject of humor and leadership. And afterwards, a woman came up to us from the audience and she was like, I have a really important question for you. Are you two actually brothers?
I was like, girl, you already know. It's because we look so different, isn't it? It's because people tell me I look like Dave Grohl or maybe a hipster Jesus that wears glasses.
And I get told that I kind of look like Harry Potter, but if he was just an accountant.
Right? And she said, no, that's not what I'm talking about.
And so we're like, oh, maybe it's our personalities that are so different, you know, because I'm an introverted nerd. My favorite class in school was calculus because I never really thought of them as math problems, but math opportunities.
Nerd, right? Whereas I was more into the creative side. I'm an extrovert. I like to talk to people. And my favorite class was art because I like to draw. And my teacher always said, see you later, illustrator, which I think's cute.
Not so bad. And she's like, no, that's not quite it either. She's like, you know, I think it's something about your humor, right? It's very different. She turned to Dave and she was like, your humor is very conversational, very warm.
And then she turned to Drew and she said, and yours is cold.
You know, and I think what she was trying to say
is that I'm funnier than him.
No, I think what she was trying to say was that David's humor is very off the cuff. It comes from the things he says in the moment.
Okay, I agree to that. I'm extemporaneous speaking. Mm-hmm. I don't necessarily like to memorize anything. Yeah. I want to live in the moment,
yeah,
right?
That's fair.
Like, look at this hat. You're wearing an amazing hat. I need to call out that hat.
It's a pretty fantastic hat, but I prefer to stay on script, right?
Sorry.
I like to workshop things over and over and over again so I know that my jokes work consistently.
We agreed with her, right? We said, yeah, I guess we are kind of different. Yeah. In fact, even our backgrounds into humor is a little different.
That's true, because I'm a stand-up comedian, a speaker, and a recovering engineer.
Whereas I'm what my students call the fun professor. I teach classes like public speaking, intercultural communication, the rhetoric of humor, which is to use humor in a persuasive way.
We also have differences in why we started thinking about humor, right? Because I'm passionate about humor because there's over 30 benefits to using humor in the workplace, backed by research, case studies, and real-world examples.
Again, a nerd, I'm really passionate about humor because it's just more fun, right? Let me ask you all, would you rather do something that is fun or not fun?
Oh, I would choose fun.
I picked fun too.
Yeah, so despite these differences, we do have a shared passion for teaching people about humor, particularly to help them become better humans. And for the last 10 years, that's exactly what we've helped people to do. But this conversation in Morocco did get us thinking, because it is true, it does seem like there's so many different styles of humor out there.
Yeah, just think of the different styles you hear in a TEDx talk versus the television Ted Lasso versus the movie Ted. All different.
That's true. They are very different. And despite all these differences, a lot of times when we think of someone who is quote-unquote funny, we have a certain perception in mind. We think of the Daves of the world, the people who are the entertainers out there. And if you're more like me, more introverted, then you might just think that you're doomed to be boring.
Which is true.
It is not true. I didn't want to believe it, right? I didn't want to believe it, so I roped him into saying, we're going to do some research. All right, we're going to find out if this is actually true or not.
And so as an academic, that meant a very long literature review for me.
And for me, it meant watching a whole lot of YouTube videos.
You can see he had the easier gig, right? But we did find some really great research out there, like Rade Martin's 4 styles of humor.
Yeah, or Acker and Bagdonis's typology of humor.
Oh, BuzzFeed's Which Friends character are you?
Yeah, I'm Chandler.
I'm Phoebe.
Yeah. But despite that, we still didn't feel satisfied in the answer, right? So we started to do some categorization on our own, and we worked with individuals and teams for more than 5 years. We had more than 10,000 people take our humor assessment. And what we discovered is that there's no one way to use humor, but there are 7 primary ways that people tend to express their humor in their work. With those 7, we recognize that the question isn't,
are you funny? The question is, what kind of funny are you?
Or what kind of funny do you want to be? So what are the 7? Well, the first is the enthusiast. These are people who appreciate the joys of everyday life.
They're the people that laugh so hard, sometimes they cry.
That's right. Like our mom is a great enthusiast.
Perfect example.
Right? In fact, our mom is here today to support us. Yeah. Thanks, Mom.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah, I know, right? And do you remember the time mom got kicked out of that Broadway play for laughing too much?
Yeah, Mom was at a play and she got into a fit of hysterics because she thought something silly in the play happened and she started laughing to the point that other people started laughing at her and it disrupted the show.
Yeah, and then she started laughing at the fact that people were laughing at her having had laughed.
They finally did ask her to leave because, the show must go on.
Yeah, I know. And what play was that even?
I believe it was Les Miserables.
That's the thing about enthusiasts, right? Is that they understand that humor can help you to better manage the ups and downs of life with just a little bit of levity.
Yeah. The second persona is the curator. These people like to collect and share things that bring a smile to their face or make them laugh, like a funny meme, an interesting quote, or perhaps a fascinating TEDx talk you're listening to right now.
Yeah. Actually, that does remind me of a picture that I saw online that I thought you would appreciate. And it was a picture of a park bench with a plaque on it that said, "In loving memory of me. I'm not dead yet, just self-centered."
I do like that. And curators build relationships because we know that if two people laugh at the same thing, it brings them closer together.
Yeah, which means #memes build teams.
Ooh, wow, true.
Yeah, all right. Up next is the third persona. All right, the third persona is that of the inventor. And inventors like to sit down and create comedy from the world around them. So that could be writing a punchline or a poem or even a pun. In fact, I wrote a pun this morning. Do you want to hear it?
Do we have to?
Indeed, you do.
I'm so sorry.
All right, so do you all think the cost of balloons is going up thanks to inflation?
Okay, actual inventors know that you can capture the audience's attention by using humor because we know that if we get you to laugh, we can get you to listen.
Wait, what was that?
I said if we can get you to laugh, we can get you to listen.
Oh, okay, right. Yep, that makes sense.
Yeah. The fourth persona, the next one, is for those people that are quote unquote funny, right? These are the people that bring just a lot of levity to a situation.
That's right. They're the entertainers of the world. There's just something about the way they say things that make you laugh. There's something about their delivery that has you hanging on their every single word. No, word.
Sorry. Entertainers are very confident and charismatic, and they never finish a story with, "Oh, I guess you had to be there."
Is that a bad thing? I do that all the time.
Well, you're not an entertainer.
Oh, that's true. All right, because I am more of an engineer, the fifth persona. Engineers like to solve problems using humor, whether that's gamifying a task at work to make it more fun, or telling an audience you kind of look like Harry Potter in accounting just so they laugh and listen a little bit longer.
We know what gets fun gets done.
Yeah, because research shows that humor can help you to become more productive, less stressed, happier, and healthier.
Research also shows that those of you who use humor appropriately are seen as more attractive.
That's right. So you can not only be happier and healthier, but also hotter.
Oh, thank you. The sixth persona is the advocate. The advocates are those who want to create a space for others to share their humor. They want to acknowledge it when they do as well. So speaking of which, Drew, shout out to TEDx for having us.
Absolutely. And shout out to our mom for having us.
Thank you. Yeah, advocates are like the Bob Rosses, the Mr. Rogers of the world. They want to make the world a better, happier place.
Yeah, they know that if you tell someone a joke, they laugh for a moment. But if you teach someone how to joke, they can laugh for a lifetime.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. And that brings us to our last persona, the skeptic. And skeptics are people who are maybe feeling like none of this makes sense, or maybe they think it's all stupid.
But wait a second, the skeptic is actually a very important persona.
Okay, well, that's fair. Skeptics do understand that what one person finds funny, another person might find offensive or cruel or just straight cringe.
Yeah, we call it human resources. Just kidding. Our mom spent her entire career in human resources, and as she always liked to say,
you can't spell humor without HR.
Otherwise, it would just be UMO.
Yeah, which doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, but skeptics help us to balance our humor with a positive and inclusive approach. So those are the 7. And as you all were listening, you probably recognize yourself maybe in 1 or 2.
Yeah, you might have thought, I'm really enthusiast when I'm with my friends or family, but more of a skeptic when I'm at work.
Yeah, and switching between those personas is completely natural. In fact, what we encourage you to do is just be a little bit more intentional about how you do that. Or while you're listening, maybe you thought of other people that you know.
Yeah, when I was speaking about the curator, you might have thought, that's totally my grandmother. She loves to collect memes, or she sends you memes constantly. Well, this is wonderful. You have a way to connect with your grandma. She collects memes. Send her some.
That's right. She may not get all of them, though. You remember when Grandma thought WTF meant, wow, that's fun?
Those were my favorite text messages.
Yeah, and in particular, for those people out there that are a little bit like me, that grew up a little bit more introverted, if you've ever thought, I'm just not funny, well, it's possible that you're not in the traditional sense of being a quote-unquote entertainer. But chances are you do one of the other personas pretty well naturally. So start with that one. And as you get more comfortable over time, you can start to adopt the other personas as well.
Because remember, the question isn't, are you funny? It's, what kind of funny are you?
Or what kind of funny do you want to be? Do you want to be an enthusiast?
A curator.
An inventor?
The entertainer.
An engineer?
An advocate.
Or a skeptic?
Or perhaps you're not sure quite yet and you're still discovering it.
But by answering that question, by discovering your humor persona, you can start to bring more humor to the world around you.
Which will make you happier.
And healthier.
And hotter.
Oh, thank you. And if you find yourself in Morocco at some point and someone says your humor is more cold, they probably just mean you're an engineer.
And if they say your humor is warm, they probably mean you're funnier than your brother. I'm Dave.
I'm Drew.
Thank you.